Hello, welcome to today's edition of the Daf Yomi Masechet Tractate Menachot Daf 101 Amud B. Just to finish off the last sentence of the previous Amud, as we know in the Baita, in the Sefta Kazin 3:12, all of the various kinds of vineyard, the flesh of an ox that is stoned, a heifer whose neck is broken, the bird sacrificed by a leper, see Leviticus 14:4-7, a firstborn donkey whose neck was broken, and meat cooked together with milk are all acceptable to ritual purity of food, despite the fact that they are forbidden for consumption. So let's look at the footnotes. Shor haniskal, an ox that is stoned. Rashi explains this does not refer to an ox that was actually stoned based on a verdict of the court that it killed a person in Exodus 21:28. In that case, it would possess a more severe impurity of an animal carcass. Rather, it refers to an ox that was slaughtered after the verdict was given, but before the sentence was carried out. Egla Rufa, a heifer whose neck is broken. According to Rashi and Tosfot, this is not referring to the usual case of a heifer whose neck is broken in a barren valley as part of an atonement ritual after a murder victim is found and the murderer is unknown. See Deuteronomy 21:1-9. In that case, the heifer's neck is broken and it is not slaughtered, rendering it impurity of an animal carcass. Rather, it is referring to a case where the heifer was slaughtered after being brought to the barren valley, and the ruling is in accordance with the opinion that it is prohibited to derive benefit from the heifer from the moment it is brought into the barren valley. Internally, this Gemara is in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Shimon that the atonement ritual is valid even if the heifer is slaughtered. A third possibility is based on the Gemara elsewhere in Zerachim 70b, is that the heifer whose neck is broken does not become impure with the impurity of an animal carcass, and that's from Tosfot. The firstborn donkey is the firstborn of its mother. Although a donkey is not a kosher animal and may not be sacrificed as an offering, a male firstborn donkey is automatically sanctified the moment it is born. The donkey is not given to the priest, but must be redeemed with a sheep, which is given to the priest in exchange for the donkey, as described by the Torah in Exodus 13:13. If the donkey is not remedied, its neck is broken, and it remains prohibited to derive benefit from it. Rashi Rabbeinu and Gershom Hagola suggests that the Gemara here is referring to a firstborn donkey that was slaughtered and is still twitching, as at that point it is susceptible to the impurity of food, but is not yet impure with the impurity of an animal carcass. Alternatively, the carcass of an ox that is stoned, the heifer whose neck is broken, and the firstborn donkey are in fact impure with the impurity of an animal carcass. The Gemara's point is that they are also susceptible to the impurity of food, and even an amount equal to less than an olive book in volume, which does not permit impurity as a carcass, can be combined with other foods to submit the impurity of food. Whose neck was... I think I said that bit. Okay, Rabbi Shimon says, none of them are susceptible to ritual impurity of food, since they are all items from which it is prohibited to derive benefit, and they are therefore not considered food. And Rabbi Shimon concedes with regard to meat cooked together with milk, that it is susceptible to ritual impurity of food since, i.e. both the milk and the meat had a time that it was fit for consumption before it was rendered forbidden. And Rashi said that Rabbi Yochanan says, what is the reason for Rabbi Shimon's opinion that an item from which it is prohibited to derive benefit is not susceptible to the impurity of food? It's because it is stated all food which may be eaten, let's see in the Hebrew, Yochel laha'achilo la'chemim karu ochel, that on which the water comes shall be impure, Leviticus 11:34. The redundancy of in the phrase food which may be eaten indicates that specifically food that you're able to feed to others, in this case Gentiles, is the term food for the purposes of susceptibility to the impurity of food. The food that you are not able to feed to others is not termed food. Therefore, items from which it is prohibited to derive benefit and which it is therefore prohibited to feed to others are not considered food in this context. Rabbi Shaya explains how this can be applied to pigul. A meal offering that one rendered pigul is also food that you are not able to feed to others, as it is prohibited to derive benefit from it. Consequently, it is not susceptible to this impurity of food according to Rabbi Shimon. The Gemara asks, if so, why doesn't he also derive that meat cooked in milk is susceptible to impurity because it is food that you may feed to others? As Rabbi Shimon maintains that it is permitted to derive benefit from meat and milk cooked together. As is taught in a Braita, Rabbi Shimon ben Yehuda says in the name of Rabbi Shimon, with regard to meat cooked in milk, Eating it is prohibited, and deriving benefit from it is permitted, as it is stated, "For you are holy people to the Lord your God, and you shall not cook a kid in its mother's milk," in Deuteronomy 14:21. And elsewhere the verse states, "And you should be holy men to me. Therefore you shall not eat any flesh that is torn by animals treif in the field," Exodus 22:30. Just as there, with regard to an animal torn by animals, which is forbidden as treifa, i.e. an animal possessing a wound that will cause it to die within 12 months, eating it is prohibited because deriving benefit from it is permitted. So to here with regard to meat cooked in milk, where a holy people is also mentioned, eating it is forbidden, but deriving benefit from it is permitted. That's the first part of this Omid. See you soon.